It's a bizarre little plant from Mexico. Let's talk about Myrtillocactus. What's up, fellow plant enthusiasts? My name is Dylan, and this is Bane's Botanicals. Today, we're going to be talking about Myrtillocactus. As I said, this plant is from Mexico, so you can also say it Myrtillo if you want to sound, a little Spanish. But it's a cool little cactus. This one is actually a mutation. They call this a crested form just because you can kind of see how it does have the kind of crested look. It is kind of flat, like that. Very geometric. And actually the species is Myrtillocactus geometricans. Slide that in, or maybe it's on this side, I don't remember. But it should sound a little bit familiar if you've ever seen a booby cactus. It is the same species, same genus. It's just, like I said, this one is a little bit of a mutation that they've harvested, basically. And this one is almost perfectly rounded, but when I went to the greenhouse that I went to, there were all kinds of different shapes. So there's a shape to fit any desire, really. And I think that makes this particular variety kind of neat. Not that a booby cactus isn't cool just because of how tall it gets, but one thing I will say, actually let's go ahead and do this. Here is the taxonomy information for Myrtillocactus. Myrtillocactus, well, this specific species actually used to be in a genus called Myrtillocactus, and Myrtillocactus got completely dissolved and absorbed by Myrtillocactus. Or maybe they just kind of upgraded the name. I'm not really sure which one it was, but I know that it did used to be called something different. We do have other types of cacti that are called such and such Cereus at the end, like what was the totem pole cactus? I think it's Pachycereus. If I'm not mistaken, that's the totem pole cactus. Describing, of course, the shape of the fact that it grows like a column. As you see, we are in the family Cactaceae, so this is a true cactus, and therefore it comes from the American Southwest or Central America, which it does, Mexico. And there's really not a whole lot else to say about it, to be honest. It's just such a cool little plant, and it will flower if you treat it right, of course, just like any cactus will, because it is a flowering plant. Now, as far as the care goes, this, of course, needs bright, indirect light. I don't think you would want to put it in the direct sun, at least not at this size. If you did give it direct sun, make sure you acclimate it a little bit. And even so, you wouldn't want to put it in sun all day. I mean, you literally have to have this little thing sitting out in your yard all day, which would be difficult to do. Typically, when a cactus or a succulent is smaller, they tend to be a little more susceptible to things like intense light and underwatering, things like that, just because they are so small. They're no different than children. Children can be more susceptible to certain things than adults can. As far as watering goes, I just water this, honestly, probably once a week. Now that it's wintertime, I'm going to water it even less, maybe once every couple of weeks or longer. I mean, if I don't start to see this thing wrinkle, it's doing fine. I mean, a cactus, as far as our levels of watering go, cacti are the ones we water the absolute least. So you really just want to let it dry out completely. I do have mine in a terracotta pot for good reason, because cacti and succulents do well in terracotta for the most part. There are a couple of succulents that are exceptions, but almost all cacti are good in this. And I guess a jungle cactus would be an exception, although they do still need good drainage. So anyway, what else? Fertilizer, I just fertilize it bi-weekly during the growing season, and then not at all during the dormant season, which we are in. Late fall, winter, early spring. Cacti do have a tendency to go into an actual dormant phase where they prefer cooler temperatures, but they still need that bright light because you're trying to replicate desert nights, right? Which can be a little tricky to do, but it does help with flowering in the spring if you can pull it off. Now, that may not apply to all different genera of cacti, but as a whole, it's one of the things that can boost blooming during the growing season if you give them a good dormant season. If you have a good nap, you wake up, you're feeling refreshed, just like a cactus. Did we skip something? It doesn't need humidity. It's a cactus. And what am I missing? Oh, the soil. I just put it in a cactus soil, just a regular cacti succulent soil, something that has the added perlite or sand for drainage. That way, it's not holding on to moisture for too long because cactus roots tend to be more fibrous in the sense that they don't need deep roots into the ground because in the desert it rains really hard and the desert absorbs that water really fast. So these have to have shallow roots that can just absorb water quickly, as opposed to a tree which has roots that go way down into the soil because the ground usually has moisture in it, or even down to the water table. So yeah, and that is why cacti are really susceptible to overwatering. Trust me when I say that if you have a cactus and it died, you probably overwatered it, unless it turned into a raisin. If this thing turned into a raisin, it's because I didn't water it enough. But you would have to not water it for a really long time for that to happen, because these are designed to be in the desert without water for extended periods of time. So cacti are very easy to take care of. I know we've done quite a few cacti on our list, but I found this one recently and I thought, man, I got to go ahead and do this one just because it's too neat. But I think that's all I have about Myrtillocactus. Let me know if you guys have any experience with these or with any of the other species that are not geometricians. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing and following and keeping up with me and commenting and everything. I appreciate that so much. And I've enjoyed sharing all of these plants with you and getting to kind of share my life with you guys too. So thank you so much for that. And until the next video, I will see you guys very soon. Thank you.